Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lost Coast Podcast. Today's guest is an amazing guest. We have Debbie Z, and she helps businesses find happiness and money, two things that we all love to go together. Welcome to the show, Debbie.
Hey, thanks so much, Corey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So, to get our listeners here started and give them kind of an idea of, where you've been, where you're at now and how you got here, give them a little background on yourself and why you do what you do now.
As a coach, I think for the coaches that are in your audience, most of us feel like we were born that way, meaning we have two unique skills. One is to see problems that other people are struggling with. And number two, the desire to help, right? And the desire to be able to see a pathway where they can. I remember I was in probably my late 20s, early 30s, hadn't yet really officially become a coach yet. And I'm standing at line at Starbucks, and, this woman, it's a long line. The woman in front of me turns around and she looks really, really distraught. And I said, hey, how's it going today? And I could see that she was a little bit off. And she says, oh my gosh, I'm just, I don't know. I'm at the end of my rope. I have this business. She owned a hair salon and, really having some troubles and blah, blah, blah. And I asked her a couple of questions, like, were the troubles like culture troubles? Was she not working the right people? Like, was she trouble growing? So I tried to kind of just curious, right? Like, well, where do you think the trouble is? She goes, I keep trying to grow it. And I keep coming up against roadblocks. And I said, I've never owned a business before, but I've worked at some pretty big companies. I said, have you ever taken a real hard look at your expenses? And I don't even know what made that come up into my head, right? It just was like, have you ever taken a real hard look? I know you're looking out there, but have you taken a hard look at your expenses and looked for ways to cut it? And because sometimes I think you could find some profit there, and that might then give you the edge. And she started to cry. And I said, what's going on? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. She said, when I woke up today, I said, I need a sign for me to keep going. Like, it's been such an uphill road and it's been so difficult. I really need a sign. And you just sharing that, first of all, it's a great idea. And I can't wait to go back and do that. But it's the sign that I'm meant to keep going forward. And what I found was that as I'm building up to wanting to become an official coach and get certified, I kept having those conversations where I would just talk to a random stranger and they would start to cry. And that's what really pulled me forward. I like to say I live for the light bulb in other people's eyes, right? That's the thing that fills my soul. And that's really what kind of started me on the trajectory of being a coach.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Being a coach is listening and getting some of that background, some of the story, and getting to that heart piece, where to really get to their struggles to see where they're at so you can help them where they need to be helped. There's a lot of coaches out there just, tell you, well, you got to put the grind in, you got to work hard, you just got to push through. They give you a lot of rah, but they ain't digging deep into what the problems are,
Right.
and they charge plenty of money for that too. And hey, it works for some people because
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, you keep putting the grind in, something's going to happen down the road sooner or later. But
Exactly.
it's nice to have that little inside information of what's really happening, and that's what you're doing for them, is really taking a deep dive and look into their businesses, through basically saving some money and finding some more money to get the rewards out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So tell us, okay, so you're helping these businesses now. You're diving deep. You're getting in the emotional aspect of them, like this gal you helped at the coffee shop, right, with her salon. But what do they get? So you take this. You started now into the coaching business. What are they getting? When they go to Debbie Z, right, and you're going to help them. What's their first steps you guys take?
Well, the first step is a business assessment, right? So um, diagnosis without prescription is malpractice, right? So you don't walk into the doctor's office and they take one look at you and say, you need to do this, this, this. They asked you a question, what's going on? What's the challenge? And so it starts with a pretty robust assessment where I just look to get the big picture. What's going on? Where are they? But I find that most business owners are excellent at what they do, meaning whatever it is they sell. And the reason they open their business is because they're good at what they do. I don't care if you're a roofer. I don't care if you own a beauty salon. I don't care if you're in financial services. You're good at that. And the reason you open your business is because you're good at that. But there's some really fundamental business practices that none of us learned in school. We never learned what running a business. I actually think we'd be better off in school if we taught kids how to run a business instead of a lot of the other things that we teach them. We've never learned that, and it's not our fault. And most of us, we're smart. We can learn things. We can talk to our friends and we can figure out things. And so businesses open and they launch and they're successful and they figured some things out. But there's actually some very fundamental things that are really easy to do, but business owners don't know. I like to say that, a business is a series of about 24 dials, and you can move them this way or that way. And we can see the dials. We know they're there, but we don't know exactly what turning the dials does. And I've kind of really figured out what each of those dials do. And based on that assessment, we can go in and say, oh, we need to change this style. We need to look at this style. We can look at this style. Most businesses think they need to have it hit a home run in order to really grow their business. We did 100,000 last year. If we want to do 150,000 this year, we have to do something big. And my experience is if you know which dials to turn and how much, turning each dial is easy, but they all compound. So I help them identify which dials to turn and share with them how to turn them. And I find that it's not uncommon for me to double a business owner's profit in 1 year by turning a couple of dials.
That would be amazing. And I couldn't
Yeah.
agree more. I mean, I know when I started back when I had my construction company, why did I start it? Because I was good at it, right? I
Right.
was good at the construction part, but I wasn't really the best business in because I had a problem with the books and keeping my income coming in. The bills were always coming, but I didn't hire that bookkeeper, trying to do it myself. That was a part I wasn't good at. So I can see the struggle on the back end for a lot of business owners. And you're coming in, kind of taking a look, hey, make some changes here, turn this dial, turn this dial. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, and then to be able to double their stuff by, like you say, turning those dials with the compounding piece, like you mentioned. I mean, that's exactly what we do in the financial services. Show them how a little bit compoundingly makes a huge difference. That's great. So that's the first step, the assessment. So now you take this assessment, right? Where do you take that information now? How do you process this? What's the next step for that? Give them the idea what the next step is for them.
Well, and I have some tools that help me do this. So once we complete the assessment, right, what's happening in your business is the big picture. I have some tools that actually order the dials. Which order should we turn these dials to create the maximum result? So I have some tools that will take this big picture and go, oh, if you want to make the most money as fast as possible, you should do this first, then dial number 1, dial number 7, dial number 8, dial number 2, dial number 6. So we create a blueprint, right? So from that assessment, we have a blueprint that says, this is the path. This is the map that we're going to walk over the next 12 months. And then we meet, and I like to think they're dominoes along each of those dials is a domino. We look at the first one, we tackle it, we knock that one down. We go to the second one, we tackle it, we knock that one down. And the beauty is again, the analogy of the home run. We don't have to turn these dials from 1 to 10. We might turn this one from 1 to 3. This one goes from 2 to 6. This one goes from 2 to 3. and it compounds, right? So we make these small, easy to execute changes in the business, and we watch the profits roll in.
Have you ever found that dial all the way to 10 and then you tell them you need to turn it back a little? You know?
Yes, here's a perfect example. So one of the things that business owners always talk about is my marketing's not working. They've hired these marketing companies. They've spent thousands of dollars, not gotten the results that they thought they were going to get. I know exactly why, and I help them fix those things and then help them find a marketer that can help them. But here's what happened. So let's say their website's great. What happens when a lead comes there? That's all great. Their ability to move that potential customer from cold to purchase, and they're clear on that. And we turn on the marketing and they get flooded and they get overwhelmed. They don't have the staff. They don't have the resources. It's working. It's working really well. But the customers are coming so fast that they're not able to move them into their business efficiently. And we break it. And we go, whoa, 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 let's scale back. Let's scale back on how much we spend. And we usually ramp up slowly. We don't go and spend $10,000. We start at 1,000. I'm pretty good at making sure we don't overwhelm the system and break it. But that happens, even though we can start out very slowly, and it works so well that we're like, ooh, we got to scale back just a little. We were spending 1,000 a month. We got to scale back to 500. And then we got to ramp up our onboarding skills or our customer skills or get more people. And then we can, right? Then we can spend more because we have the ability to handle it.
Yeah, I thought that's where this conversation might have went to, because I've been guilty of it myself. Oh, things are a little slow. What do I need to do? I need to pump the advertisement out there, pump the advertisement out there, and if you pump it in the wrong places, who cares? It doesn't do you no good. If you had a trigger where you're where you're putting everything and then be able to shoot in a straight line. Yeah, I can see that definitely. And I know a lot of business owners that spend a lot of money marketing themselves out there. And I think if they turn the marketing off, they'd still be in the same place they are today. Because
we look at that. Like I help them look at the numbers. That's another thing that, and you mentioned it, business owners, we're never taught how to look at the numbers in a way that's easy to understand and easy to make decisions about. So we look at all those things, and we're making sure that if you're spending $1 over here, you're getting $2 over here, right? That it makes sense. And we through from what you spend, how many clicks, how many opt into your website or whatever that process is, how many call you, how many make appointments, how many actually become clients. And we make sure that there's continuity, that if we're spending $1 over here, we're getting $2 over here.
Yeah, no, that's good. So you take the assessment, you go through, you tell them to turn the dials. Now, you said this could take 6 months, a year. I mean, depending on, I'm sure it's different for every client. What is the end result, of course, is to make more revenue, more dollars into their pocket. What's the help to get beyond that? Where are you at with them through the whole process and then beyond?
And we do start turning the dials, but they start seeing profit immediately. They're not waiting a year to get that money. Month one, if they're able to take some actions on some things we're talking about, we're projecting out, like we're creating profit month one, multiply by 12 months. We can see that money very quickly. Some of the things take longer, but my goal is to have them see results in month one, where you could go, oh, yeah, we just made an extra $1,000 this month, which means in 12 months, that would be $12,000. Even though it's only month one, it's only 1,000. Multiply, we're going to keep making that $1,000 so 1,000 this month, 1,000 next month, 1,000 next month. And that's if we don't make any improvements to it, right? That's if we don't make that number better. But very often businesses have other problems other than just profit. Every business owner I've ever asked, I say, what's your challenge? Whatever it is they say, my next question is, Would having more profit help you solve that challenge? And the answer is always yes. Now, there can be staffing or employee issues or other issues, hiring issues. And I have skill in all those areas, right? To be able to help them hire, to help them create a better culture, to make sure that the people are trained well, to make sure they have standard operating procedure, right? I have strategies in all those areas, but my experience is more profit makes all of those things easier to do. You could hire an expert to come into your business and write all your SOPs, somebody that just follows everybody around and tracks what they do. When you have more profit, you can now hire someone to do just that, right? It makes that easier. So I always ask my clients, if I have permission, they bring to me a problem that's not necessarily money related or profit related, right? I ask them for permission. Hey, we were going to work on this today because that's the next thing on our roadmap. Do I have permission to help you solve this my manager quit and I got to hire somebody. Great. I can help you with that. So we just, based on what the business owner's problems are, we coach on, if something's on fire, we handle that. And then we go back to our map. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that makes perfect sense. I mean, take one little step at a time and just move forward. If we have to reverse to go grab something again, we'll just bring it back into the fold here. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So tell us, Debbie, I'm sure our listeners are interested and you're giving out some great information here. What's the best way they can get a hold of you? How do they do that if they're looking at Debbie Z coming in and helping their business?
Yeah, I would probably say the easiest way is to find me on LinkedIn. My last name is Lattuga, Lattuga, and I'm under Debbie Z. So Debbie Z Lattuga, I'm easy to find. If you put that into search, you'll find my LinkedIn, you'll find everything, but LinkedIn is the fastest way to get a hold of me. You can find my phone number, you can find my email, you can find my booking link. That's probably easiest, but it may take you to YouTube or Facebook. All of those pathways, you should be able to reach out to me directly from any of those channels.
Well, there you go. Just type in Debbie Z and keep searching. They're going to find you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yep. LinkedIn should work out just fine. I know that's a big one for a lot of business owners that I've worked with. A lot of people like that platform just for the connection of, business to business. So yeah.
Right.
Totally agree.
And I accept friend requests from everyone. If you misbehave, I kick you out. But if you ask to connect with me, I do. If you start getting spammy and messaging me all the time, I kick you out. But I'm a business owner looking to build relationships. So the answer is, can we connect? The answer is yes.
Well, that's perfect. So we're into the part of I'm going to bring this down a little bit here from the conversation piece. What do you want to tell the business owner, or excuse me, our listeners here, drive them to come get you? What are you going to give them today that we can make sure they come out and reach out to you?
Well, that robust business assessment that I talked about is actually free. It's a 1-hour appointment that I book for free. The only number that you need to bring to that appointment is your gross revenue for the last 12 months or the last year, whichever number you have. And we can complete that business assessment. And you'll walk away with a 17-page report on about a dozen dials and what it would look like if you were actually to improve them. So you kind of walk away with a plan. And I'd love to be the one that helped you execute on that plan, but you can book a free assessment. And at the end of that call, I'll ask you one simple question, which is, would you like some help getting that money? And the answer will either be yes or no. I just love helping business owners. I love showing them that they can make more profit and that there's an easy pathway to do it if you just know what path to take and which dials to turn.
Right. So all they got to do is reach out to you, and you're going to give them this whole thing all at one time then.
It's a
Well,
win-win.
I
You get
cannot
insight
believe,
and a blueprint on how to move forward, and we might find alignment. And if we do, we move forward together.
right. No, that sounds great. I can't believe anybody not reaching out to you.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you're going to give them exactly what they're looking for. It's free. You guys better reach out to Debbie Z. I
Well,
mean,
thank
my
you.
goodness, Debbie's going to give you this for free. Debbie Z for free. Better reach out there and make this happen.
I mean, I might need to go buy that URL, Debbie Z, for free.
There you go. There you go. Be careful. Be careful.
I know. I know.
So, no, that's great, Debbie. Give us. Do you have any more examples of what has happened with some other clients? You know, maybe where you've helped them and build them out. You know, and then now they're on track. Give us. Do you have any of those for us?
Yeah, so I'm working with a really, really big online wine retailer, and they had hired coaches before, didn't find value. They had hired, I think they'd spent about $500,000. They're about a $20 million a year company during COVID. Clearly, online wine. They went to about 40 million, but it was not sustainable. They've spent over $500,000 on marketing and just not gotten results. Not gotten the results that, you know, $500,000, you need $1 million in return, right? And we worked on some of the easy levers. And what I like to do is I like to work on the easy levers first before we turn on the marketing, right? I like to make sure that the business is capable of handling an influx of clients. I want to make sure their marketing message is well. And the marketing message is purposeful. And we worked for about 3/4 of a year, and we were ready for the marketing. And of course, I have relationships with a whole bunch of people that not required to hire them, but I do have people that I've worked very successfully with. And I recommended a marketer, and they were really resistant. They were like, they're like, you know, we think we're good. I actually paid for the marketer myself because I knew it would be valuable to them. I paid for that initial appointment, and they hired the marketer. And what I like about them is he ramps up, right? The first 90 days, we do small things, and the more success we have, the longer we can work together. First 90 days, he helped them work just on their email. They were sending emails frequently. They were pretty good emails. The very first email he sent out made them $20,000. Very first one. Very first one. And I can tell you that first 90 days did not cost them anywhere near $20,000. And so that's just like a wonderful, right? They were nervous about hiring a coach. They were nervous about hiring a marketer. I'm like, I got you. This is going to be great. Now they can't wait. They've now been working. Actually, we're still in the first 90 days. It's a slam dunk. They know they're hiring him for the next phase and then the phase after that, because it's just such a great fit. So it just, like, every business owner struggles with profit and marketing. And if you can figure those two things out, you accelerate the joy, right? Profit and Joy Accelerator. That's what I help business owners do. What happens is when your business starts running well, you get to own the business instead of the business owning you. Most business owners I talk to work in their business 60 hours a week. And my goal is to ramp up that profit so that they can then step back and create more space so that they can go out and do more of the things that grow their business. Like in this scenario, it's meeting with wine owners, with vineyards, right? And talking about their wines and bringing on new wines. But when you're so busy running your business every day, you don't have the opportunity to go do those things. And so watching space be created and joy being accelerated, like, I can't believe they pay me to do this, right? Because it just fills my soul. Like every day I like finish my work and I'm like, yeah, that was a great day. We moved the needle forward for everybody. And it's just so rewarding to see them almost fall back in love with their business, right? The things that were such sore spots and pain points that they just couldn't figure out how to do, that we make some small changes And all of a sudden they're taking a 2 weeks vacation because they've figured out how to get all these pieces in place and they can go away worry free. And it's just wonderful. Just wonderful.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's the numbers just don't lie. So when the numbers are prepared for properly and they're coming forward and it's showing you're making money. I've always said the numbers don't lie. Math is the same no matter how you want to add it up.
And it's not intimidating because most of us are intimidated by numbers, right? It's not intimidating. It's so easy to understand. And the business owners get so good at their numbers that they fall in love with them, right? Like you said, I wasn't really good at now that doesn't mean you should be doing your own books, because I would still always recommend that you have a bookkeeper and accountant. But when you fall in love with numbers, they're not scary, and you start to see the dials and you start to recognize how to turn them yourself. You know?
That's excellent. So, Debbie, I want to thank you for all this information you gave our listeners today. I'm sure they've gotten something out of it. I know I have got an amazing information out of it. So we're going to bring this to a close, Debbie. Unless you've got something that's pressing on your mind you want these listeners to know.
I think we've shared it all. I'm excited to be able to help your listeners.
No, that's great. So, all right. So we're going to bring this to a close. So to our listeners out there, if you own a business and you're looking to turn them dials and make a few more bucks, reach out to Debbie Z and she'd be happy to help you. This is the Lost Coast Podcast, and we are signing off. Thank you so much for coming. Goodbye.